What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different than what I usually post, but every now and then I get this feeling, and I just want to share with you guys my thoughts on why games just don't feel fun anymore. And I've recently started to feel this way again as I was making videos for this YouTube channel. I did actually script out all of my feelings because I wanted to make sure I got every bullet point, and I'm going to show you guys my script here. It is very long, and I'm going to do my best to be as genuine as possible here. I don't want you guys to just listen to something that sounds robotic. I want you to feel how I feel genuinely about this topic, and I will use this script as more of a remind me of the things I want to cover and not just to read right off. So I want to be clear that these are my personal thoughts and feelings and opinions on why gaming just isn't fun anymore. Games have changed a lot over the past few decades. I remember being a kid back in middle school. Almost every day after school, I would go down a couple of blocks from the school. There was an internet cafe called Super Connected. I would go there, rent a PC for a few hours, and play the hot new MMO game at the time, which wasn't actually World of Warcraft. I don't think World of Warcraft was even out back then. It was a game called Ragnarok Online. And back then, games didn't care to create cosmetics for their players. They didn't care to create these seasons and battle passes to try to nickel and dime their players out of every cent they had. It was just about creating a fun experience and to tell a good story for players to get lost in and leave the monotony of the real world behind. There's a reason people say the golden age of gaming has passed, and I think it's true. So I want to open my brain up to you guys just for a minute and let you into my world to see my perspective on the state of gaming and why gaming is in a freefall decline. Now we're just going to address the elephant in the room right away, and that's the shift in focus into making all games a live service title. Now, if you don't know what live service games are, they're basically games that are released half finished and half baked with the promise of updates and features to be added over the game's lifespan. I used to love the idea of live service games. Hey, you have a game you enjoy and it's going to get constant updates to make the game funner and better for you. What could go wrong? Think of a game like Super Mario 64. That game had left such a major impact on gaming in general that till this day, people still find creative ways to enjoy the game and keep it fresh for themselves, even though that game hasn't changed since its release. Now, imagine that same game getting new levels and new power-ups to experience every couple of months. Sounds amazing, right? The sad reality is it didn't quite turn out that way. Continuing with Super Mario 64 as an example, the main goal of the game is to beat levels, collect stars, use those stars to unlock more levels, and ultimately defeat the boss Bowser and rescue Princess Peach so you can live happily ever after. Now, in the live service world, imagine Super Mario 64 released and only half of the castle was accessible. Maybe the staircase leading up to that middle area of the place was blocked by a line breaker thing, and there was a toad standing by the door that was saying, "Sorry, Mario, this part of the castle is under construction." Or imagine Bowser wasn't even in the game and you couldn't actually even beat it. Or the power-ups, the flight cap. Maybe it wasn't even coded in, but you know it's there because, like in the regular game, it has that invisible thing to let you know that it's there, but they just didn't program it in yet. Or even better, there's a sign next to it every time you try to grab it that says, "Unlock this premium power-up for $5 and level up your gaming experience today." It's the equivalent of ordering a bed set on Amazon and they tell you that it'll arrive in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks comes, the box is outside your door, you open it up, and all that's inside is the bed frame, with a note inside that says your bed will arrive in the next 2 weeks. Okay, well, I got this bed frame. What the hell am I supposed to do with this now? And then During the whole 2 weeks, your mood is just sour because you got this bed frame and you can't really do anything with it. 2 weeks passes by, your bed comes in, and your mood is just so soured from the whole experience that you can't even enjoy the bed once it comes there. You're just so irritated by the whole thing. And it would have just been better if they delayed that package for another few weeks or so and you got the entire thing all together. That way, as soon as you get it, you can experience the whole thing and you don't feel like you're kept in the dark from anything. This is unfortunately the sad reality of the live service gaming era. Live service gaming has demolished the quality of games to an unimaginable low, and it shows zero respect to their players and their players' time. Some even going as so far as to have all of the content available when they release the game, but intentionally holding back some of the features to either release in a DLC pack to charge their players later, or to release it a few months later and make it seem like they're actually doing something when they're really not. I mean, sure, there's some success stories with live service games. A fantastic example being No Man's Sky. They promised all these wonderful features for the game, and on release, it was the most bare bones experience anyone's ever played. And it had literally almost none of the features that it was advertised. They turned this game into one of the best open world exploration games I ever had the pleasure of playing. And it was only through the hard work and dedication of the company to see their vision game come to life, no matter what. They were hated on, they were memed on to oblivion, but they pushed through the fire and brimstone, and what they created was amazing. Not a lot of companies will do this, and as soon as they see the numbers start to dwindle, they're going to call it quits right away. The idea of limitless content for something you enjoy is very intoxicating. But the lies and abuse these game companies do to their fans can sour even the most hardcore fan into abandoning your game altogether. Create your game and think of future content after you've finished it. Don't create your game and in the process have these ideas of locked features and content on release. Respect your players, and your players will respect your game. With player retention being a hot topic for game companies nowadays, it's changed how games play and ultimately feel for their players. Imagine, again, we're going to use Super Mario 64 as our example. Instead of pressing a button to unlock the Meadow Cat power-up, imagine you had to stomp on 2,000 Goombas, swim a total of 2 hours, and collect 1,000 coins in order to just unlock the power up and use it. Or to beat the game, instead of defeating Bowser 1 time, you had to defeat Bowser 10 times. And after that, you unlock Mecha Bowser. And Mecha Bowser, you had to defeat him 25 times, and Mecha Bowser takes twice as long to defeat. These kind of things have no rhyme or reason to exist at all, and it's a gross disrespect of their players' time and efforts. This has got me losing the fun factor of playing games, as I never feel rewarded for anything I do. And when I do eventually finish all these pointless menial tasks and finally get my reward, it never really feels like it was worth all the effort. And I'm just dreading the next set of pointless menial tasks that I'll have to complete. This has made gaming feel more like a job than a hobby to have fun and forget about your worries. I mean, actually, gaming actually adds to your worries now. You want that new special weapon, but it's only in the battle pass? Alright, I mean, I've been working a lot, so I can treat myself. $10 isn't too bad to get that weapon. Actually, the weapon is locked to level 50 of the battle pass. Alright, well, I mean, I guess I got something to work towards. Actually, the battle pass ends in 7 days. Well, I guess I can go ahead and take some time off work to crank out these battle pass levels. At this point, you're not playing the game because you want to and you're having fun. You're playing the game because you feel like you need to and it stops being fun. This is what they call the sunk cost fallacy, where you continue to put your time and effort into something just because you can't stomach the idea that you made a poor initial investment decision. And you continue it, regardless of how irrational it seems to continue. In this example, to buy the battle pass with 7 days remaining, Instead of accepting the fact that, yeah, I made a poor decision and I should probably think about it next time, you instead double down and you make even more bad decisions to make your first bad decision seem like it wasn't all that bad. This actually perfectly goes into our next reason of the video. Now let me ask you this. What is the one thing in a game that can make literally any game fun for you? Everyone will probably have a different answer for this, but for me, I can sum it up in one word: discovery. And I'm not talking about the channel. Nowadays, there's so much documentation on everything, like how to play, how to unlock this character, how to beat this boss, how to unlock this thing. Don't get me wrong, all of this is extremely useful for people, but I think we've taken all of this a bit too far. Going back to my middle school days, I remember scouring the shelves at Blockbuster for a game that sounded and looked interesting to play, and just playing it. Not knowing what to expect when you pop that game into your console for the first time, getting a very vague idea of how to play and what to expect when you read the little booklet that comes in the case. Ultimately, the ball was in your court to learn how to play the game and figure it out at your own pace. Now let me ask you this. How do you approach a new game? You watch a few trailers for it, maybe a review or two from your favorite content creators? Well, for my friend group, a few of them at least, it went a bit deeper than that. So we'd watch trailers, a review or two, and if they liked what they were seeing, they started to go into videos like beginner tips and tricks guides and tier lists for the best characters to use and the best weapons to get to make your time easy. And then we'd move on to videos like the best way to level up. All of these things before we even got to play the game. At least for me, this kind of defeated the purpose and there was no more fun to be had in the game because there was nothing left to discover. You would have seen everything the game had to offer. From all these types of videos, the meta era emerged, or the most effective tactic available. Take a game like Diablo 3, for example. Every season, people would look up a tier list of what's the most effective character to use and what the most effective build is to use of that character, and they played it. Didn't matter if you didn't enjoy the playstyle or anything, because it was the best one. Games stopped being about using characters or weapons that you enjoyed and became more about just using the best thing available and the best thing to get you to the end of the level the fastest. So maybe it takes you a few more hours to get to the same point as the guy with the metagear did, but I can guarantee you've had way more fun than he did getting there. A fantastic example of meta ruining a game is recently the Helldivers 2 meta weapons. The breaker shotgun, the railgun, the shield backpack. If you didn't have any of these weapons in your loadout and you tried to play with others and they didn't see you having these weapons, they would sometimes actually kick you from playing the game because you weren't using these meta weapons. This rocked me to my very core. I loved using weapons like the diligence rifle, the anti-material rifle, the arc thrower, the flamethrower. Let people play the game the way they want to play it. It's so bad that when I ever see a tier list or something of a weapon or a character, I actively will try to use the characters that is at the bottom of that tier list. I mean, if you look at my channel, I made a tier list on a game called Invincible Guarding the Globe. And what was the video I made? A few videos after that. I love to theory craft and build craft in games. The biggest fun destroyer for me has been the emergence of the meta. I mean, if you look at my channel, I made a couple of guide videos. People enjoyed it, and it felt great to help people. But at the same time, I had this gut feeling that I was doing my viewers such a major disservice by robbing them of the opportunities and the joys of discovering these kind of things on their own terms. Yeah, Rob, we get it. You don't like games anymore because people enjoy games differently than you do. You're right. You're absolutely right. People do enjoy games differently than I do. People enjoy games differently than you do. Which is why you shouldn't judge people based on how they want to play the game. You shouldn't judge people based on what weapons they use or what characters they want to use because, hey, that makes the game fun for them. And at the end of the day, games are meant to be fun. My channel is still very new, and to my current subscribers, thank you so much for your love and support, but I will be staying away from any type of meta or guide content from now on. And I also will be starting up streaming soon. So I would love for you guys to join me and we can just have a great time playing games and discovering them together. But thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.